Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whenever you're watching this. Welcome to my daily Facebook Live talk. My name is Barry Selby. I am a best-selling author, speaker, and relationship attraction expert, helping strong, successful business women find balance in love, life, and business. And I'm also a passionate champion for the divine feminine. And welcome to my broadcast. This is Messages from the Masculine number 110. Yes, there's been a lot of these so far. And this one is kind of, I thought about this, just hit me as an idea, is desperate does as desperate is, whatever it was. It was basically, I'm going to get to the point about how desperation is not the right place to come from when you're needing a relationship. Because if you need a relationship, you shouldn't have one. I'll get to that one too. So let me just speak from my own personal experience, because I might as well out myself in this one. When I started, yeah, okay, it's going to come out that way. All right, it's going to be bare ass naked in terms of truth. I am a best-selling author, speaker, relationship attraction expert, and I've messed up my love life more than once. And sometimes I've chosen relationships from a very, let's just say, unhealthy place. Oftentimes from desperation, because I was needy. Now, none of you have ever had that experience, I'm sure, so I'm just going to tell my story, and it can be my sob story, and you can ignore it because you've never had the same problem. Of course not, unless you have. Basically, after I had it was actually the third in a series of breakups where the same pattern happened, I started seeking out teachings that would help me understand what I was missing, what I was doing wrong. Basically, because I realized I was messing something up because I kept proving it in 3 different relationships. That's a clue, by the way. If you have the same experience in 3 different relationships, maybe there's something you want to check into your own life about what you're doing differently, or can do differently. That led me to the teachings of David Data, Alison Armstrong, Satya and Suzanne Raja with Warrior Sage, John Gray, all these different masterful teachers and experts. Oh, didn't mute my phone, my computer. In particular about the polarity of masculine and feminine, and it was an eye-opener for me. It was a game changer, and it's why I do the work I do. It's what drives me, in fact. However, when I first got into that work, within the first few months of studying the stuff and studying with these teachers, let's just say that I was thinking, okay, I've got this toolkit, let me go out and date now. Wrong move. I was really coming from, it was a place of desperation. I had basically gone over a pretty painful breakup, and it led me to this work. And I really, for one thing, I was passionate because I was now diving into this new teaching that was so transformational for me and so eye-opening to what I didn't know. You know, that whole understanding of competence. By the way, what is the competence, in case you understand that stuff that you may know in your life experiences, is when you don't know what you don't know, that's the first, it's a quadrant, 4 squares. This way around? Yeah, this way around. You don't know what you don't know. You do know what you don't know, as in you know what's missing, but you don't know what to do about it. You know what you know, which means that you have knowledge and you use it consciously, and then you, actually no, excuse me, let me try it again. I have this in my head and I'm just putting it on paper. So there's 4 levels of competence. Conscious competence. There's unconscious incompetence, which means you don't know what you don't know. There's conscious incompetence, where you know what you don't know. There's conscious competence, where you know what you know and you're doing it consciously. And there's unconscious competence, which is mastery, where basically you're doing it without thinking about it, and you're doing it well. Let's just say when I started learning this new stuff about masculine and feminine polarity in 2007 in particular, I was in the area of moving from conscious incompetence, because I was awakened suddenly, because I was basically, my last 3 breakups were because I was unconsciously incompetent about this whole area. I was messed up. I moved into conscious incompetence because I started going, oh, that's what I'm missing. I now understand the masculine and feminine polarity that I hadn't got a clue about at this point. So I dived into the teachings. But early on in the teachings, I thought I was in a place of conscious competence. I wasn't, but I thought I was. I was still learning. I was in that transition from conscious incompetence to conscious competence. I was in the transition between the two. And I was absolutely gung-ho thinking, I can go on dates now. I know what I'm doing. And to be honest, I was running from desperation because that last breakup hurt me so much. I wanted to cover it up quickly. And this is the key I'm trying to teach, by the way, in this whole expose. I was looking to really heal by meeting somebody else. Wrong approach, by the way. I didn't do the work to heal myself first, which is why I messed up those choices. And thankfully, frankly, those ladies rejected me. Wisely so, because I was not ready. Very clearly, I wasn't ready. 10 years later, I have great hindsight on that. But at the time, I was in this place of desperation. I wanted to prove that I was okay and get back on the horse, as it were, and meet somebody, go in a relationship. And this was going to be less than 5 months after I had a breakup. And it was a bad breakup. But coming from desperation wasn't going to help anybody. It wasn't going to help me or the person I dated. In fact, it was going to be more like a rebound in a way. But it was desperation doing it because I was in the place of going, I'm learning these teachings, I've got to explore them and use them now. And I watched other people in the trainings I was in who were single when they went in, hooking up very quickly afterwards to ideally practice what they preach, sort of thing. Not clever. Now, to finish up the diagram I was talking, green pinky, I'll talk about that in a second, by the way. Yes, I've talked about this before, and I'll talk about it again in a moment. Off track, though, so let me just finish this one off. Green pink, yeah, sorry, okay. There's a reason for it. Back on track. In the paradigm of competency, I've been practicing for the last 10 years since I've been starting this journey, conscious competence. I'm in this bottom quadrant. And at times I'm in the unconscious competence corner as well, which is great, which is also interesting because you never know you're doing it. If you're unconsciously competent, you're doing it without realizing you're doing it. That's kind of cool, and you go, oh, I did that kind of idea. So I've been spending a lot of time with the studies, and the book I wrote really came out of the conscious competence corner of this quadrant, describing that from the beginning. But getting back to the topic at hand, which is desperation, desperate is as desperate does. What I've been aware of when I've shifted out of the desperation mode, especially as after it was probably the first 2 or 3 years of being in this work, this last 10 years of study. Now, let me this is going to maybe confuse you. I've been on this journey for 35 plus years. 84 was when I first, actually 33, excuse me. I've been in this personal growth journey since 84. But the last 10 years, in particular with the masculine and feminine conversation, the dance of the polarity, I've been very invested in studying because it was a piece I was so hungry for because I missed it completely, which is why I love teaching it and expressing it in my work and with my clients. So I was basically, in the first couple of years of this work, constantly thinking, I'm going to date now, I want to meet somebody, I want to go and try it out. However, in this journey, one of my teachings, and this is coming up, so I'm talking about it, when I started with David Data in this process, in his book, The Way of the Superior Man, there's a chapter 7 that says a man's purpose must come before his relationship, which was probably the keystone of my understanding. I was starting to build my understanding like a bridge, all these different things I was understanding, my masculine and feminine polarity, but I wasn't living it. When I got to that one, the keystone, which was basically my purpose comes before any relationship, that stopped me in my tracks. Because it turned off the desperation energy for a start. Because when I realized that every relationship I would choose without having clarity on my work, I'd mess up, which I'd proven 3 times in a row, and more probably without realizing it, it became clear that I could not willingly entertain a relationship without clarity about my work first. It was very hard for me at the time because I was thinking, I've got to find a love, I want to be in partnership, I want to be running. That was all desperation driving it. But shifting out of that into my owning my work and really clarifying what I'm doing in my work, which is what this is, realizing what I've been studying for the last 30 plus years and the last 10 in particular is my work. It is my passion to teach and share this in my own particular vernacular and flavor. At this point in time, 10 years after I started this part of the journey, I'm very open to having a relationship, but I'm also not desperate. It's in some ways, not a very new place, but it's a very different place for me to be over the last 3 years than it's been over the last 30 years. And I can tell you, it feels so much more comfortable. But every so often, because I want to be honest and transparent here, every so often there's a tinge when I meet somebody go, ooh, and there's this yearning and desire that comes from a less aware, less conscious, less competent, and less authentic place. It's the desperation energy. So even though I'm doing this work and I'm studying and I'm leading this work and teaching it, inside is a little bubble of desperation that's still running around, trying to find something to be attached to. So I'm going to work on that myself. So I want to make sure you hear this point, because for many people out there, their use of, for example, of the Tinder app comes from desperation because they broke up with somebody, they go back on the app and swipe, swipe, swipe. Oh, that will be next. It's like, got an empty spot in your life, let's fill it with somebody else. Wrong approach. It's a codependent paradigm, to be blunt. I've talked about this before in previous broadcasts. Recently about where you find, Sunday I talked about, you can't be loved by somebody else till you love yourself. And that's from the codependent model. And if you are simply jumping from partner to partner to partner using Tinder or any other app to do it, I can guarantee you it ain't healthy. And if you're doing that, you might want to stop. Take stock, get back to yourself, and really start to learn how to love yourself independent of anybody else, so that desperation doesn't run your life anymore. It doesn't run mine. It shows up as it's like a little puppy running around going yip, 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 and I'm like, yeah, I see you. I don't pay attention to you in the sense of I don't give you power, but I'm aware of you. So if you have desperation running your life, it's time to switch gears or switch the paradigms that you're in mastery and control and an authentic owning of your space, and desperation doesn't have control anymore. But if you're still doing that date, won't work for you. So, sorry, Lisa, you're commenting, it feels 100% better. There's almost a worry that I won't care ever again about relationship. It's so far back on the burner, it may not be a concern again. I would say I understand how you feel. I've had that feeling myself. In my work, I've had this clarity that my work is more important than anything else, and if I don't have a relationship, I still feel fulfilled. At the same time, I'm very clear, I would love a partner. But it's not from a place of I need a partner. It's more I'd love to enjoy the company of a partner. And I suspect for you too, Lisa, that there's a part of you that has that space available, but it's not the front. It's in the back burner, as you said, far back on the burner. It is something that you're aware of, but not driven by. And if you have that, you're much healthier, because then you choose a relationship. It isn't coming from a place of feed me, Seymour. It comes from a place of interesting, let's check this out, and it's healthier. That's kind of the interesting ways of explaining both opportunities. So recommendation is you do it from a place of an interesting opportunity versus must-have, because it's usually what's driving you energetically. So I'll answer your question, Lisa, about this. This is not an affectation, although it's fun to wear in a way. I've never had, up until a month ago, I think it was, I've never had nail polish on my fingers ever, but this one started because this is a reminder about child abuse. Yes, about child abuse. The statistics I was tied to when I read this article a couple of years ago now, and it's actually changed, was 1 in 5 children are sexually abused by the time they're 10. Usually by men. 90% percentile is protagonists are men. So more men are doing this. So if you see a man with a single painted fingernail, he might be one of those men who said, I'm going to stand up for this and speak about it. So this is what this is for. Apparently the numbers have changed. What I heard recently is actually 1 in 4 boys and 2 in 5 girls, I think it is. It's a lot of kids are sexually abused by the time they're 10. And it's largely perpetrated by men. So men, I'm asking those of you watching and for those of you who hear about it, please stand up to this. Stand up for health of children and for adults too, because a lot of my clients, adult women, are part of that group that have been abused, and it's part of the healing I help them get to, because they can't have healthy relationships once that abuse is still running in their tapes inside. And that was one other conversation I did on Saturday or Friday, I think, to about that one. So that's why I do this. So at least that's your answer. So these are basically, by the way, these Facebook Lives are doing, this is number 110, are meant to be seeds that stir your thinking and provoke ideas and have you think about this stuff. I invite your comments and questions below. If you have questions you want to talk about offline, you can message me directly versus putting them below in public. If you want some support in the area of helping to track the right sort of relationship, reach out to me as well. This will be on Facebook Live, on my personal page, business page, and other places, as well as on YouTube and on my personal website, and thebarrysilver.com, and it'll be on the video blog. If you want to watch my previous ones, they'll all be in those places, on my YouTube channel as well as on my business page. And if you want help, please reach out to me. And again, if you find somebody else out there should learn from this and maybe get benefit, please share it with them. And I'll talk to you again tomorrow. All right, take care of yourselves. As always, take care of yourself first. It's not up to, thank you, Max, I appreciate that. It's up to you to take care of yourself. It's not in somebody else's job. When you take care of yourself, then it's time to have a healthy relationship. I'm a big proponent of cutting out codependence off the planet. But I've talked about those in other broadcasts. This one is kind of like that too, but it comes up in a lot of conversation because so many people, I used to be one, would look at relationship as a way to fix something I didn't have. Wrong choice. Anyway, that's another broadcast. I'm signing off. I'll see you again tomorrow. Take care of yourselves. As always, if you have any questions, what's the replay? As soon as I finish recording, it'll be up and live, and you'll get value from it. Yes. So when I stop recording, it'll be visible on my web page in about, on my Facebook page in about probably 2 minutes. It resets, and then you can play it again and watch it. All right. Okay. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves. And if you have any questions, message me directly, and I'll do my best to support you. You're welcome. Take care of yourselves. Bye.